Hello, it is Lydia here. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm joined by a special guest that is Ant, who is also my boyfriend, who is also a gamer as well.
Hello.
So today we're going to be talking about our gaming highlights of 2021, which will include things that were our favourite games, what did we enjoy playing most, what were the worst games that we played, and we've also got a few questions from Instagram as well. So thank you to the people who contributed to that as well. So without further ado, we'll start having a look at our gaming highlights. So first up, we're going to talk about our favourite games that we've played this year. So Ant, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so these are a few of my favourite games I've played this year. I think only one of these was actually released this year, but all kind of quite fun and slightly different. So if any of you know me, you know I love a golf game, and Mario Golf Super Rush came out this year, which was quite a surprise. I think it was announced in a Nintendo Direct early in the year, and I've been wanting a Mario Golf game since the Switch came out. Love the story mode on it, great fun, really easy to pick up and play. Another game I played was Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition for the Switch. I actually got the collector's edition that's got the big fancy record and art book and stuff, but if you like JRPGs, really recommend playing it. It's probably one of the best in my opinion, and in lots of other people's opinions, so if you don't like it, you're wrong. Also continued a bit of a tradition in finishing a Final Fantasy game for the last few years, so I've finished Final Fantasy 9. The last one that was on the PS1, it's kind of quite nice going back to sort of the medieval style, and I really like the sort of character mechanics and stuff, and all having different skills and jobs, whereas the previous ones, the characters could mainly do the same sort of moves and stuff. So it was nice being able to pick individual characters based upon their skills. And another one was Ratchet and Clank for the PS4. Now Lydia basically spent a lot of time.
Believes you into it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, I played the original on the PS2 many years ago and really enjoyed it, but hadn't gone back to the series, and I hadn't been a huge platform gamer as such up until fairly recently, so really enjoyed Ratchet and Clank. I'll talk a bit more about it with a few of the other questions as well, but if you haven't already played it, would recommend that as well.
A solid game series. So yeah, my favourite games of the year, I've played quite a variety this year, and I think probably indie games have been the main feature of the games that I've beaten this year. So one of the first games that I did beat this year was Super Mario 3D World. Really enjoyed this one. It really reminded me of some of the 3DS games, but a bit better basically. I believe this one was on the Wii U as well. It was just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed Bowser's Fury part of the game as well. I thought it was a really interesting 3D Mario add-on too. So the other one that I really enjoyed is actually Ant's game, and this is What the Golf. Now, I do not like golf, unlike Ant, but I was convinced to play it, and it's basically... Stop looking at me like that. But I did really enjoy it. It's really not got that much to do with golf, to be honest. It's more of like a mini puzzle game, but most of the puzzles aren't really that difficult. They're just really fun and wacky, and it's got a lot of popular culture references in it as well, so I can't recommend it enough.
As with What the Golf, if you've played the Katamari games, there's kind of quite a lot of similar sort of game mechanics, and if you enjoy them, would recommend it. If you don't like golf, I'd still recommend it.
So basically it's highly recommended.
Yeah.
And another two that I don't actually have physical versions of is Abzu, which I played through stream earlier in the year. It's a really beautiful indie game. Basically, you're swimming through under the water. I did actually mention it in my top 5 indie games that I've played of 2021 as well, so you can check that video out as well. And also New Super Lucky's Tale, and I just thought that was a really well done 3D platformer. I don't think there's enough that are really well done. There's a few that try to do too much like the traditional ones, and they just kind of fall flat on modern platformers, but I thought this one was really sweet, and it just worked really well, and I enjoyed every second of playing it too. So yeah, that was our favourite games of 2021. So next up, we're going to be talking about our favourite pickups, or our best pickups, and the best bargains that we've got this year. So Ant?
So two of my favourite pickups. The first was I got all the only on PlayStation exclusives. So there were 10 PS4 games that had exclusive slip cover shields that were really nice minimal designs, and they were Bloodborne, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, Ratchet & Clank, Shadow of the Colossus, Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4 and Wipeout. They were only released in the UK, and I think they were exclusive to game. So some of them were really easy to find, some of them were a bit annoying, but I managed to get them all, which is really nice because they're kind of all PS4 staples, and I didn't have any PS4 games until the beginning of this year, so it was nice to kind of get them in a nice set as such. The other one, which is a bit of a slightly obscure one, is the RPG Moon that was originally only released on the PS1 in Japan, and they recently re-released it for the Switch, but only physically in Japan still. But I got the collector's edition of that had to import from Japan, but it looks really nice. It's a really nice box, so looking forward to actually playing that next year.
It does look really nice. I really like it as well. So my ones that I picked up, so this one I had on order for ages, which is Coffee Talk, which is from, is it Strictly Limited? Yeah. Anyone who's ever ordered from Strictly Limited know they take forever to send out your games, and they're constantly like delaying it. I obviously understand why, but it's still annoying. But yeah, I was really pleased to get this one. I did an unboxing of this as well, if you want to check that out at the top. So other highlights of my pickups this year include the Dreamcast console, which obviously I did another video about. And yeah, it's basically been one of my favourite consoles that I've picked up in recent times. I really, really love the console and definitely don't regret getting it. And of course I got other games for it, so Grandia 2 for example. There's loads of Dreamcast games that I really love, but I picked out Grandia 2 specifically because it's one of the pricier ones, so not a bargain, but it is one I'm really proud of, and it's in really good condition as well. We'll hopefully play it eventually. And then I also picked up Street Fighter Alpha 3. I really like this one. It looks really great on the CRT. It's really, really colourful and again in really good condition, and it's got a really, really chunky manual. I just really like it. It's just a really awesome game. And then another bargain is Shenmue 3, which I picked up brand new for £5, so that goes in my bargain bucket. I'm still a little bit apprehensive about playing it, but we'll see. So I thought I'd also dedicate a section to our favourite retro games as well. So for me, I've got quite a few highlights of this year. I think some of my pickups included Jet Set Radio. Really enjoy this game, it's fairly unique and I sort of love the music and sort of the colours. I think another one that's a highlight for the Dreamcast is definitely Intrepid Izzy. It's a modern game ported to the Dreamcast. It works really, really well, and like you wouldn't know the difference. You wouldn't realise that you were playing it on a retro console. It works that well, so that was definitely a highlight too. I think another one that I really enjoyed was playing Shenmue 1 and 2. This was before I got the Dreamcast, so I will get them for the Dreamcast eventually, but I really enjoyed playing these, I think, because it's got such a big hype to it. It was just really interesting to go back and sort of see what the hype is about. I didn't love 2 too much, but I did really enjoy the first one, and yeah, that was definitely a good experience on that as well. God, so many retro games this year. I think sort of my 3 favourite pickups for the Mega Drive are Alex Kidd, which is obviously a great little platformer, Altered Beast, which is a kind of beat 'em up and it's just got amazing music, and a Golden Axe as well, which is featured in another one of my videos. For good reason, it's a really good beat 'em up, it's got really fun music, it's just a really awesome art style, and it's just a really great game. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I got quite a few new retro pickups. I mean, most of it was the same before, Sega and PlayStation sides of it. So something I got recently, so I picked up a CRT a couple of months back, and last month I got a light gun for my PS1, so been enjoying Time Crisis and the Die Hard trilogy, specifically Die Hard 2, the light gun game. Obviously picked up a Dreamcast as well and got Sonic Adventure and a couple of the more well-known Dreamcast games. Yeah, I think it's generally, I didn't get anything too exciting, just a lot of normal games isn't really...
Classics.
Classics, yes,
Yeah,
that's classics. The best way of describing it.
So next up we're going to be talking about how our collections have personally changed in 2021. So for me personally, I think my collection has definitely grown a lot more with indie games and retro games. I actually didn't pick up many sort of mainstream AAA games this year. There was only like 1 or 2 that I picked up. And so yeah, most of them have been really short games that I've just really enjoyed the story of. And definitely my retro collection has like increased maybe like 3 times, I think. Definitely my Mega Drive collection has increased at least double, and that's something that I'm really pleased about. They're all in really good condition, and I've really enjoyed playing on my Mega Drive this year. Dreamcast obviously has been added to my collection as well, and I've added a lot more PS1 games into the mix as well. So yeah, just a really good gaming year for retro basically. What about you?
I kind of got a bit of everything, got quite a bit of retro games. I did expand the Sega side of things a lot more, so picked up quite a lot of Master System, Mega Drive, quite a few Sega Saturn games and Dreamcast games. Obviously I got a Dreamcast and a Master System this year, and generally added quite a few new consoles to my collection, so along with them got a NES, got an Xbox 360, got a PS5, so
all the consoles basically.
All the consoles. So,
I'm not jealous at all.
No, you should be.
So how many games did you complete this year then?
I beat 59 games, which I'm very happy with. Beat quite a mix of games, so the beginning of the year beat quite a few big RPGs, so Xenoblade Chronicles, Final Fantasy IX that I've mentioned, but also Octopath Traveler. Another game that took up a lot of time and really proud to beat was Dark Souls. So if you've heard about Dark Souls, you know the whole thing is it's very hard. Obviously with Dark Souls it's known for its difficulty level, but I did find it really rewarding because it's a game that teaches you to learn, which is an oxymoron, I guess.
It challenges you, doesn't it?
Probably,
it forces you to go back and learn.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes, whereas a lot of games you just kind of get through by muddling through and getting lucky when it's difficult, and whereas Dark Souls there's actually skill involved and learning techniques and things, so it was rewarding in the sense that it taught me mainly patience with playing games and to actually learn from my mistakes in games, not in general. So how many games did you beat, Lydia?
I beat 52, so not as many as Ant, but I'm still pretty pleased with that. I think it's the most games I've ever played in 1 year, so I was really happy about that. And I think my highlight in general was just playing such a variety of games. I play a lot of indie games, play a lot of retro games, I played some mainstream games and just all sorts of genres, a lot of JRPGs and RPGs and all sorts, music games, and yeah, I was just really pleased with sort of the variety that I played, and I feel like I definitely found a lot of titles that I maybe wouldn't have played before, and a lot of sort of genres that I maybe wouldn't have played before, and I've ended up really loving, and sort of game series that I've not gone into before, and yeah, I think it's just been good for trying out new things basically. So I think for me, some of my favourite moments of this year is completing the Yakuza series. So I completed Yakuza 0 finally because I played all the other ones through and I didn't want to sort of play it midway through playing the other ones. And I also finished Like a Dragon, which came out late 2020. So I really enjoyed this one. Even though it's very different to the other games, it still feels like a Yakuza game. And now I can finally play Lost Judgment as well, and then I've played pretty much all of them apart from Dead Souls. So that's been a highlight for me too.
And because of you playing them and really liking them, you've convinced me to play them, so I started playing Yakuza Kiwami the other day, so hopefully that'll be one of the first games I beat this year.
My preaching about Yakuza finally paid off.
I've been worn down.
Successfully.
So what was the console you played on most this year?
So I think for me it was probably the Switch in the end, just because I played such a variety of indie games, and a lot of the indie games were really short and cheap on the Nintendo eShop basically. So that's probably been the one I've played on most frequently, although I have played on my PlayStation 4 a lot as well, and I've also played on my Mega Drive a lot more too, especially now I have my CRT, which actually I forgot to mention my CRT as being one of my big pickups this year. But yeah, I'm a real retro gamer now. But I think definitely playing on my Mega Drive more was another highlight, because it just feels so much easier having a dedicated space for it instead of having to unplug and plug it in all the time as well. But yeah, what about you?
So for probably the first 9 months of the year, I played on my Switch a lot. I think being able to play a handheld mode and like portable, play it everywhere was a big thing. And I'd say the same as you, picked up a lot of indie games on the Switch store to play with that. But in September, obviously, I got my PS5, so ended up playing on that a lot, especially not having the PS4. There's a lot of games that I hadn't played that was exclusive to the PS4, so I've started playing them now as well. So yeah, it's probably still a mix of both, but definitely the Switch for most of the year, and then the PS5, my brand shiny new toy was used lots.
So now we're going to get to picking some of the questions from Instagram out of the hat. So let's...
We have the hat and there's questions in them. So do you want to pick the first question that we'll both hopefully answer?
Well, this is a long one. If you could go back and undo a purchase this year, what would it be?
I don't regret any of the games I've bought. I think some of the ones I bought on release that are now decreased in value a lot and I've not actually played, I regret. I generally don't buy games when they come out because I know I'm not going to play them straight away, so try not to, but still get sucked into the hype. I also bought a bike that I've not used, but I don't think we're talking about that.
It's not a game, it doesn't count.
Depends how you play it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any games that I really regret buying. I think there's games that I would have regretted buying if I bought them at full price, like you said.
Definitely.
I think Biomutant would have been one of them, but we'll probably come back to that a bit later. But I bought that for cheap, so I don't really regret buying it. I did still enjoy it. So yeah, I don't think I really regret buying any of the games that I have. Not yet anyway. There are a few that I haven't played yet that I bought last year. So, you know, maybe for next year we'll have a few to cover on that section.
Yeah, I think regretting the size of my backlog that I've created is more the issue. It's not actually, I can't regret half the games I've bought because I've not actually played a lot of them yet.
The mountain of backlog continues to grow and grow.
It does.
Do you want to pick one out?
I will pick. I mean, I'm doing this to make it look like there's lots of questions in here.
There's thousands.
There's millions. I can't believe how popular you are. Okay, so franchise I've come to love that I disliked previously. Personally, I don't think I've actually played any games that I thought I would dislike. I mean, there's a new series I've obviously mentioned that I started playing Ratchet and Clank, but it's not I disliked it to start off with, I just never played it. I think the game series I dislike are all dead to me now, so I'm basically not going to play them. Been hurt by them once, so I'm not going back. So yourself, any game series you've given another chance?
I don't really think there's any game series that I've played this year that I didn't like. I mean, like I said, I played the Yakuza games, but I'd already played most of them, so I already knew that I liked them. Well, loved them. They're my favourite series. Yeah, I don't think there really is any. I mean, last year I played the Devil May Cry 5. Didn't think I would enjoy it, but I did a lot, so I'm definitely going to start playing those in 2022. Going to try and play them all through, but yeah, really, there's not really any that I disliked previously that I've played, so yeah, no, not really.
Yeah, do you want to pick one this time?
Go on then. Who is the better gamer and who is the worst at losing?
I mean, I think it comes down to genre of games played. Obviously, you play a lot more fighting games, so you're much better at them than me, and I'm better at everything else. I'm so modest.
Yeah, very modest, very humble. I mean, you're definitely a terrible loser.
Oh, yeah.
A terrible, sore loser.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I don't really care if I win or lose unless it's sort of just me getting frustrated. I don't really mind that much.
Yeah, I find that, like, I don't lose through lack of skill. It's just... So...
We'll bleep that out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, children.
But yeah, I think
I
generally
definitely.
It's on a par.
I mean, yeah, generally I can take losing if I know someone's better at it than me. But it's hard to believe that's actually a thing.
There we go. Very, very modest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're probably slightly better at a lot of games because you've been playing them for longer, and I didn't.
Old jokes again. Oh, you're old.
I didn't really grow up with consoles, so for me, a lot of sort of genres and games are very new to me. So I didn't grow up with those sort of gaming skills as a kid. So I think that maybe holds me back on some games. I have a lot less patience for games than maybe people who grew up with games did. So yeah, maybe you're slightly better at games.
Yeah, I think as well we've not played that many games against each other to kind of compare. Like, we did play quite a few co-op games, which is nice, and to play together like that. And yeah, so obviously we haven't fully learned the extent of how much of a bad loser I am.
We haven't. There we go. Next question.
Any games you've played that we highly suggest avoiding or waiting for a big discount on? I mean, as I've previously said, just wait for a discount on any new games anyway. I'm going to have a rant now. So 2 games I played that were on the Switch was Nicky the Home Alone Golf Ball and I think a game called Valentina. I bought them on the Switch eShop and I think they were literally 17p each, which you can't really moan about, but my problem's more with the Switch eShop that has no sort of quality review system, and it just lumps all games together. So there's no, unless you put, especially with lesser known games, it's hard to actually find any information on if these games are worth spending the money on. And it's just sort of like, yeah, basically Nintendo sort your eShop out. It's rubbish.
I agree. I don't like it either.
Yeah. So any games you would recommend avoiding or...
So this is where Biomutant comes back in. I wouldn't say avoid this game. I did think it was alright. It was a bit mediocre in my opinion, but I definitely would not pay more than sort of £20 for it, or $20 or whatever your currency is. I would say definitely wait until it's a bit cheaper. I would have been really disappointed in this game if I'd bought it at full price. There is a lot of content on it, but it's really, really samey. I found the frame rate dropped quite a lot. The story was a little bit all over the place, and you could kind of just tell it felt like they'd been too ambitious. So it's definitely a game that I wouldn't say avoid, but definitely get a discount on if you can.
Definitely.
Next question.
Okay, your turn to pick from the hat of dreams.
Best and worst gaming moments of 2021. I guess we've kind of covered this, but we haven't done worst yet, have we?
I mean, there's things one thing that obviously you did a video about is the history of video games museum arcade in Bristol that we went to. That was really cool. I mean, I think after the last year and a half with COVID and all that, it was nice to actually be able to go somewhere like that, see all these arcade machines, be able to play on them. It's a nice mix of classic, really old school throwback arcade machines, the ones you'd expect like Pac-Man and Space Invaders and that sort of stuff, and then modern ones. They also had some rhythm games that were imported from Japan, which was cool because you never see them anywhere here now. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think that was definitely like a sort of highlight that's away from the sort of normal games.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun because you didn't have to pay for the individual machines, so you could just play as much as you wanted on all the different machines that were there, and yeah, it was really nice. It was a good variety.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've kind of covered like the best moments. I think I've enjoyed playing a lot of co-op games with you as well. Yeah, that's been good fun. I've enjoyed the variety that I've played again. I think worst gaming moments, I have one game. This horrible game. So it's called Kotodama, The Seven Mysteries of Fujisawa. It's just terrible. It's like, it's quite pervy, which I kind of don't mind too much, but it doesn't make up for it in any way whatsoever. It's just like all over the place. It could be a really good game, but sort of the mechanics of it, it's kind of like a visual novel. But the visual novel part isn't really done that well. It's sort of badly written or badly translated, and sort of the animations are very basic, and the sort of mini games that are in it as well, which is kind of like a Candy Crush kind of game, it's just not very good either, and I just really didn't enjoy it. I sort of like got through it because I wanted to finish the game, but avoid this game. It's just not great. Don't bother.
The only reason I think probably I picked it up, I've not played it. The only reason I picked it up is because it's like one of the first Switch games I saw for under £10 physically, which probably should have been a warning. But yeah,
Yeah, I picked this up for £10 brand new, I think. So on the Switch, you should definitely
you should get in a bit.
Just throw it out of the window.
Yeah,
don't bother with this one. Yeah, next question.
Is it my turn to pick next?
I think it's your turn.
Put it back in the hand.
Sorry.
I'm confused. You the person that picks it, like puts sweet wrappers back in the box.
And I definitely am that person.
What?
Don't say that. The thoughts on the PS5 1 year on, so this is more for you than anything else.
Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, I got my PS5 in September, which apparently, by the sounds of it, I'm a very lucky person. And if anyone wants to buy one for £600. No, seriously, I kind of like sometimes get swept up in the hype of new technology and things, and also then I'm very cynical. So I'm kind of like, how different can the PS4 be from the PS5 be from the PS4? Is they're that much of a jump in technology, and I mean, one of the decisions was made because I didn't have a PS4, so it was almost like I could get 2 libraries of games, and instead of buying a PS4 and then a PS5, it was just easier to buy the PS5. But I would say I really enjoyed it. I've played quite a few exclusive PS5 exclusive games, I'd say. So I've got 2 of them here. So also spoke about Ratchet and Clank. I played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is really good. It is more of the same from Ratchet and Clank on the PS4. There's not too much in terms of different game mechanics or anything like that, but it's just more polished. It takes advantage of a lot of the features of the new DualSense controller. Sorry if that's wrong, I can't remember what it's called. DualSense. That's fine. Also played Deathloop, which I believe you can get on the PS4 as well.
No, I don't think so. It's not on the PS4.
Okay, well, buy PS5 and get Deathloop then. But Deathloop's a really cool sort of it's first-person shooter, but it's got some nice time loop mechanics and just really kind of a bit more thinky than a lot of first-person shooters where you just run around and kill everyone. Which I mean, ultimately you do have to do in Deathloop, but you have to think. Yeah, and also definitely like has one of my favourite soundtracks of games released this year. The theme, I think it's called Deja Vu, is like a big James Bond kind theme tune. It's just very grand and over the top, and it's just really enjoyed it. The other 2 games I played a game called Away, the survival series, which is almost like a playable nature documentary. The gameplay itself is a bit limited. It's quite enjoyable, but it's a bit bulky and kind of clunky at times, moving the sugar glide around. But it's just basically like a playable nature documentary. So I did find it like really enjoyable. It's quite visually stunning. It's like a really it's definitely like it is kind of a open niche world 3D platformer kind of vibes. But the way it's done, it's almost like you're playing an episode of Planet Earth, down to the bit where they've hired a narrator that sounds almost like David Attenborough, but a budget David Attenborough. So I would recommend that. Maybe wait until it's come down in price. And obviously Astro's Playroom that come with the PS5
so good.
It's so good. It's considering it's a free game that's basically a tech demo. How it shows off and uses the controller is amazing. The way it uses the pressure sensitive rear triggers for the climbing and things, it's really good. And it kind of annoys me that I know that most games aren't going to use those features with that capability, because it's just always what happened. It's like the Wii with the motion controls. They're brilliant for the first party Nintendo games, but then where one's kind of tried to shoehorn it into the gameplay, it just ended up being really frustrating.
I think that's the problem with a lot of sort of, I don't necessarily call them gimmicky features, but they do end up being a bit gimmicky because they end up, because a lot of the other games are sort of used on other consoles that don't have those features, so they either leave them out or they sort of add it in just on purpose, and it just feels a bit out of place. I think that's my issue with a lot of the new features that are brought into these. Yeah,
definitely. Like, obviously it's one where Nintendo can kind of do it because they've got a lot of first party like IPs and stuff, so they've got a lot of games that are only exclusively going to be on that system, so it makes sense. Whereas PlayStation, I know they have a few, but it's not the sort of ones that can benefit from that. Like Ratchet and Clank used them slightly and it worked quite well, and that was enjoyable. But yeah, I think Astro's Playroom was really good and really took full advantage of it, but I'm not expecting to see anything do that as well in the future.
Yeah, they're always a bit like. It'd be interesting to see how games like Horizon Forbidden West will sort of integrate it in, and interesting to see how they use it.
Or if they just use it as a normal controller and don't.
It'd probably be what it is, to be honest. But yeah. Next question.
We've gone out of turns now. We've forgotten.
We've forgotten completely. Yeah. What is our favourite co-op game?
I mean, we played 2 this year. We played Sky, Children of Light.
Yeah, that was really nice. That was really, really beautiful. It was kind of like Journey. It was made by the same people.
Yeah, it's made by the same people. It's free, so there's no. If you've got a Switch, there's no excuse not to play it. You can play it by yourself, but
you can play it online as well, which is quite nice, because a lot of co-op games are kind of couch ones,
yeah.
which is fine, but if you're not living with the person that you're trying to play it with, it can be a bit awkward sometimes. So that was quite nice, and there was some really cute features, like you could hold hands and you could hug and high five, and it was really cute, and it was really beautifully done game as well.
It's visually a very pretty game. It's not like highly graphically advanced, but it's just the art style was really nice, and the world settings and things. It was just a really nice sort of gaming experience, and especially to like be able to do that with someone and share it. It's like that shared experience of doing it and having those same memories was really cool.
Yeah, it was really nice.
We did play Kiwi for the PS4. So this is kind of
it will test your patience with each other.
It will really test your patience. I think the best way of describing this is, well, you play as kiwis, the birds, but you basically run a post office. Yeah. I think that's it.
It's kind of little puzzles. So you have seasons, and then there's sort of different stages, and then each stage gets progressively harder and harder. They throw in more things that you have to watch out for and sort of be wary of and do. And like by the end of it, you're doing like a million gazillion things. And you kind of have to be talking to each other and telling each other what to do and sort of deciding who goes where and does what. And it is quite good on that co-op sense. It's a bit like Overcooked in that sense. Yeah. You're on a timer, and it's all time sensitive, and you have to really be on the ball with it. So if your brain's a bit foggy, it's not a very good game to play.
You'll end up shouting like when you've kind of separated off into different sections each of you's doing. When the person that's not doing that section can shout, "No, it's there!" It's like it doesn't help. You think you're helping, but it really doesn't help. But it was good, and it was kind of definitely one to see how compatible you are when you get stressed in a stressful situation.
We didn't fall out over it, so that was positive.
Didn't. We're still here talking about it.
We're still here
with a happy light. It didn't go in the games we would recommend not picking up, so obviously it couldn't have been that bad.
It wasn't that bad. We got there eventually.
We did.
It's your turn to pick.
It's my turn. Okay. I keep trying to pick the hat label. Okay. How many new games did you add to your collection? Let you go first.
I don't actually know, to be honest. I was trying to think about it, and I don't really keep track of what games are in my collection. That's actually something that I want to start doing for 2022. But I don't keep track of how many games I've bought. I think I've probably bought at least 50, but I don't know if that would include digital games as well. Physical, it's maybe around that ballpark.
Yeah. I'd say tracking my games collection was kind of a blessing and a curse, because whereas before I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I've got that game, I won't buy it, and now it's like I can definitely tell I don't have it, so I'll buy it. But apparently I ended up picking up 168 games this year, so I mean that's basically quick maths, but added 109 games to my backlog. So considering the ones I deleted a beat this year, so yeah.
Was that physical only?
That's physical only. I wouldn't know digital, because I got quite a few sort of free PC games, like from Itch and GOG and stuff like that. So yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, one of the things I'm saying is like do need to slow down on the pickups. I mean, quite a few of those games I got given to me. My brother gave me an Xbox 360 with a load of games, so a good probably 20, 25 games were given to me. So it's not all that excessive. It's very excessive, but I'm trying to justify how bad it is.
That
yeah, I'm trying to justify my purchases.
It's best not to.
It's not.
It's a rabbit hole otherwise. But yeah. Next question. Guilty pleasure game. Oh, I tell you what, although I didn't actually play it this year, it was last year that I played it, was Galgun.
Yeah, I was
You're
going to say...
basically sucking underwear off of people.
Yeah, if you think about like the game premise, it's kind of almost a very old style first person shooter where you're on a single screen.
It's like a cover shooter, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's instead of shooting, you're sucking people's clothes off and shooting little devils that are somehow possessing people.
You shoot love at them as well, which is basically their word of something else.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a guilty pleasure. I did enjoy it. Like, it got a bit boring after a while, but it was kind of one of those. It was like, I'm so mature playing this game.
Yeah, I think like for the same sort of vibes, like Samurai Kagura games, where they're actually reasonably good beat 'em ups, but its whole thing is instead of the enemies having health points, basically the more you beat them up, the less clothes they have on. So,
yeah.
I mean,
is that going into your guilty pleasure one?
That will go into my guilty pleasure one. Yeah.
There you go.
So
pervy Japanese games, basically.
Pretty much that. I mean, I think like one guilty pleasure I have, and it's not a guilty pleasure game; it's a really good game. But my guilty pleasure is I play Donkey Kong Country, or Super Donkey Kong if you've got the Japanese one, every year for no apparent reason other than the fact I love it. It's like still the peak of platform gaming, even 25 years or so after its release. If you've not played it, play it. It's on Switch Online, it's on the Nintendo Classic. It's so good. It's still such a fun game to play. It gets very difficult, it's challenging, but not unfair. It still has one of the best game soundtracks considering it was made for 16-bit systems. Yeah, I have no idea how David Wise created such a masterpiece from a console, and people that have now got all the instruments in the world to make game soundtracks still can't touch it, basically. So, yeah. Guilty pleasure.
Nice.
Next one. Yeah.
We've only got 2 more left after this.
Say the word rubbish.
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 Done. Next one. You can tell that one was from someone from America, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Have you tried any new genres of games?
I don't think I've tried any new genres, but I've maybe played more of ones that I hadn't before. So I mentioned before I played a lot more fighter games. So I played all the Virtua Fighters, I played Dead or Alive, and I played quite a few other ones as well. That was kind of a genre that I didn't really touch much before. Definitely a lot more retro games, quite a few rhythm games that I played, which I was kind of into before, but there was a few nice indie ones that I really enjoyed. Maybe a couple of RPGs. Obviously Yakuza Like a Dragon is basically an RPG, so that counts there. Just loads of indie games and sort of weird games that don't kind of go into... Oh, more platformers as well, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I played a lot more platformers, especially sort of like indie ones. Mm-hmm. Played probably a couple more than normal visual novels, and rhythm games. I played a few rhythm games, like really enjoyed Sayonara Wild Hearts.
That's such a good game.
Just, again, absolutely amazing soundtrack, and just, which is pretty much the focus of the game, with the art style that's just glorious, like neon vibes.
It's just such a joy to play that game.
Yeah, it's just really fun and satisfying, really nice to look at. It sounds really good, and yeah, you can get it for like physically less than £10 now, so would recommend picking that one up as well.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, there you go.
Last question. Do you want to read it, or should I read it?
I read it.
Okay.
Did you play a game so bad it made you sad?
I mean, I've already kind of ranted about the couple of Switch games on the eStore. Other than that, I didn't really play anything particularly bad. I kind of don't impulse purchase games that often, so I know I'm generally going to enjoy something when I've bought it. I mean, one thing that made me slightly sad this year, and I don't know, it's a game I played, but not the game I played that made me sad. But earlier in the year, I played Grand Theft Auto 3. Played the original on the PlayStation. Obviously, as you know, they re-released it and remastered it, and
they messed up.
And also, it's a game that didn't really need better graphics. It needed a better game world. It needed to be busier and more populated and stuff. If you go back and play the free PS2 Grand Theft Auto games, you'll notice how empty the streets look compared to Grand Theft Auto 5. And it's almost like they just needed to do that, make it busier, take advantage of the new consoles. All they've done is just basically remade the game and turned the settings up a bit to make it look a bit smoother. And
doesn't look that great.
No, it doesn't. And it's like you call it a remaster for modern console, and it just looks like a slightly better version. And it's just for what is like the £60 game on release, or it was quite expensive.
It was quite expensive. It was almost new game price,
when you can go and buy the free PS2 ones for probably less than £10.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. So
I do think most of the PS2 games don't really need remasters. Because if you play it on sort of your PS2 console, and obviously you can play it on PlayStation now as well, they kind of don't feel that bad. Especially if you're playing on a CRT, they feel like almost modern games most of the time. So it's either they need a complete remake, or just play them on the original one. They kind of don't really need the remasters. I don't think.
I think for if you're remastering a PS2 game, it's either one that never really got the praise it deserved back in the air, so it's now games that are now more expensive than they would be, or games where they've had a lot of work done on them to make them fit in and look more modern and stuff. Devil May Cry, the remaster of that is just they've slightly polished it and that's it, and it's the same game, but it didn't need the controls or anything changing because it works so well on the PS2. And it's almost just sort of they have this opportunity to re-look at a 20-year-old game and go, oh yeah, it's good, but this X, Y and Z's moved on, the controls were an issue, we can refix that, but all they've done is we'll just make it look slightly nicer and kind of miss the whole point of what they could have made this a really modern version of a game that was loved, and all they've done is ruin it.
Yeah. So there you go. PS2 remasters are what make us sad.
Yeah.
I think is the takeaway from that.
PS3 remasters as well.
Why? Oh yeah, they're even more pointless because they're basically just a slightly shinier PS4 game.
So yeah, I'm waiting for them and I say this I'm probably not going to go out and buy Skyrim on the PS5 when it comes out, so
no. You and everyone else apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, that concludes all our questions from this, unfortunately. So yeah, that concludes the hat picking section.
Thank you for all your questions. Some were very insightful and some were rubbish.
No, they were all very good. So now we've done all the highlights of 2021, time to talk about what we expect from 2022. So first off, what kind of games are you looking forward to this year even?
You've confused me now.
It's 2022 now, so this year.
I haven't written the date on my notepads, so I don't actually know what year it officially is. So I think two of the games I'm most looking forward to would be Oxenfree 2. So the original Oxenfree, I think, was released in 2016. So it's been out for quite a while, and it's trundled along, got quite a lot of support, and it's kind of a supernatural horror visual novel-y puzzle kind of game. It's really good, and it's really sort of well pitched, and the way the game mechanics work with the story and the music is all really intricate and really well done.
Feels very spooky.
Yeah, and it's so with certain puzzles, the way you control them feels really good. So I'm really excited for how Oxenfree 2 will work. Excited for that. Definitely looking forward to the Final Fantasy Origins spin-off remake that's obviously based upon Final Fantasy, the first game, but is like a Souls-like game, so it'll be interesting to see how Square do that, going away from a sort of traditional RPG things, so it'd be interesting to see what they do. What sort of things are you looking forward to?
I think probably Hogwarts Legacy. It's going to come out. Hopefully that will still come out this year. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I think the idea of walking around Hogwarts is something that's not really been explored properly, and something I'd be really, really excited to do. And especially sort of having your own story in that world is something I would really love to see.
I definitely think that the Harry Potter games up until now, the way they've used Hogwarts, and it's been very limited. And it's kind of like been only small sections of it, and you don't really get to explore the castle very much. So it'd be really interesting to see it in all its majesty, being able to, go up into all the bits that you've seen in the films, read about in the books, that just aren't in the games. Basically, you go down a corridor to one class, and then that's it. That corridor's locked off for the rest of the game. It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, hopefully they nail it. Fingers crossed. I think the other one as well is Horizon Forbidden West. I really enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I think it's a really cool concept. I think it's really beautifully done. I really like Aloy as a character, so hopefully I'm just really excited to see how they progress her story. And I don't know if it's going to be on the PS4. I don't know if it's just going to be PS5. But obviously if it's just on PS5, I'll have to wait to play it.
If only you knew someone with a PS5.
I'll have to steal his PS5 while he's not looking. But yeah, definitely really excited for that one and to see how it progresses.
Yeah. So, in terms of your collection for this year, 2022, what are you looking to pick up, and how are you looking at growing it?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to focus more on playing some of the games that I've got. I've got a lot of retro games that I've started playing and haven't finished. I do find Mega Drive games can be difficult to complete, so, but definitely more of my Dreamcast games I want to pick up as well. I would like to pick up a few more games for sort of like my DS, 3DS, Vita. Potentially get a couple more consoles, maybe Xbox. I'm sort of on the fence about whether to get one at the moment. I really would like to play some of the exclusives like Halo and Fable and Gears of War as well. And I think, just for me, it's just playing more variety again and expanding on my collections basically. I still will play big titles that come out, but I'm not as bothered about them as I was before. I'm just much more focused on playing games that I really, really enjoy. And now I know what games I enjoy more, I know what more to go for. But retro and PS3 as well, I'm trying to expand more onto. What about you?
I think I'm gonna, in terms of picking up games, I'm gonna try and go get less but more high value games. So tend to pick up games that are cheap, so a couple of pounds, and end up picking up a lot of games basically. So going to try and pick up some more expensive games on my wish list. One game I really want to pick up this year is Doom 2 for the PC in the original big box. So it's, I think, the last sort of big box PC game I really want. Really sort of like the designs and stuff from that era, but they are just getting horrifically pricey now. So it's kind of one I want to buy before it gets even more ridiculous. And I think in terms of consoles, the only console I really want to pick up is a SNES. I've had one before and it broken, so I want to pick up another one. I've got a SNES Classic, so played a lot of the games on that, but do have quite a lot of SNES games that I would like to actually play on the hardware, as well as being able to play any light gun games and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I think, just in general, it's sort of games that are on I call it my holy grail list. So games that are a bit too expensive that I wouldn't want to pay that much for. But if I'm not picking up as many games, I don't mind spending a little bit more on. So it's just kind of balancing out games that I really want versus, bulking out a collection. I would much prefer to focus on quality than quantity, which is something I've really been trying to focus on. And just getting through my backlog as well, I think, and giving more attention to other consoles. I think my PS4 and Switch get a lot of attention. I'd like to give more attention to like my PS3 and DS and Vita, and that sums it up really, I think.
Yeah, definitely like the same. I played my Vita quite a lot earlier in the year. I would say when I was playing a lot more handheld gaming, but it's something I want to get back onto, especially exclusives that were on the Vita, like Persona 4 Golden is one I really want to play. Yeah, and like all the DS and 3DS exclusives that would be exciting to play as well.
Yeah. So that concludes the video of our 2021 gaming highlights. I really hope you enjoyed watching. We certainly enjoyed doing this video. Had a really good 2021 in the end, despite all the difficulties that there were. I hope you had a good New Year's too, and hope 2022 is even better for you. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you want to find me on social media, I'll leave the links below. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more. And also has his own podcast if you want to have a look. It's called Beats and Bleeps. It's on Spotify. I'll also leave a link down below. It's a really good podcast about gaming soundtracks, so if that's your jam, definitely go give it a listen. It's very good. And I'll leave his Instagram down below as well.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.